Bottom, now we're here. Started from the bottom, now.
Frank, say it, Frank. Say
We
it.
are live.
We are live, everybody. How we doing?
Let's give people a little time to get in, man. I know some people wanted to vibe with us this morning, so
You got it, bro. Happy Friday.
wow, David. We started from the bottom, man.
Frank, I think it's good. I think it's like amazing how at the end you look at the beginning. You know what I mean? It's like part of life. It's like the circle of life. You know?
Yeah, 100%, 100%, 100%. Yo, shout out to Drake, man. Dropping good music after good music. A whole decade of like being on the top of, yo, it's crazy.
Yeah. Drake is the best.
Yeah.
All right, Frank.
Hold on. Let's give it a little more time. I'm vibing right now. Let's give it a little more time, man.
Okay, Frank.
You know, people take their time to like log in.
You know, I have ADD. I don't like to wait around.
I hear you. Let's get some people to start commenting. Let's get people to start. David, I'm gonna put you on the spot now.
Sure.
We spoke about. I'm gonna keep it moving. We spoke about doing a dinner with some random person, and it's not gonna be on this podcast. But we spoke about legit the first person that comments in a certain area. I want a dinner that we're gonna go and take them out to dinner. Was that the case?
Yeah, so the idea is that on a future podcast,
Yeah, for sure.
on a future episode of the Hustle Radio podcast. Look at that. We got Joe in the house.
By the way, let me tell you something about Joe real quick. Dayon. He happens to be a cousin of mine. You met two cousins in the last 2 days. But Joe's specialty is bringing products to like Walmart, bringing it to like stores, supermarkets, specifically in the food industry. So shout out to Joe. If you have a product, if you have a chocolate, if you have anything that needs to go to the market, he has all the doors to open. So shout out to Joe, man. Shout out to Joe.
Very cool, Joe. There we go. We got another clap. So Frank, we were just saying about Hustle Radio. And I think it's not just going to be a one-time thing, Frank. I think that we're going to just have opportunities that the audience, like Joe, for example, is going to be able to say, I'll take a dinner.
Yeah.
Or me, or dinner, or whatever the key word is going to be. And that one lucky winner, at least per podcast, is going to
for sure.
Is going to get a dinner on us.
Yeah, 100%. And I think that when we do that, man, it's just going to turn into. I remember one of these days, David, I had somebody reach out to me and they're like, "Yo, can I pay you guys to like go out to dinner with you guys?" And I was like, "Dude, there's no need for that. Just hit us up. We'll figure it out. We'll make up some time." Why? Because we feel like when you're at a dinner table, we had an amazing dinner this week, by the way. I saw you were posting a lot of stuff in your WhatsApp status, and I'm gonna actually bring it to LinkedIn because. Yeah, we've been low key, not posting on LinkedIn as heavy as we should be. You know, we've been like.
I've definitely been a little distracted.
Yeah.
There's no question about that. You know, we've been very busy. We've been planning. We've been working. So I think that LinkedIn is going to have to forgive us. But
sure.
At the same time,
the algorithm won't though. The algorithm won't.
The algorithm won't. So. But at the same time, I think we needed to do what we did, and I don't regret it. So
Elon Musk always says, grab 6 months of your life, disappear, learn something new, come back, and it'll change your life, right? And I feel like even though we took a few steps back, we were building something, right? We have a new podcast that's coming up. We have the Ecom Cooperative, which is growing massively, right? And we're working on an event in the future, and I'm talking very ahead, but. This is like so many things that are on the plate, and I think sometimes we find ourselves having a conversation at 1, 2 o'clock in the morning, and we're legit talking about what needs to get done because just time feels like it's just not enough, right? So, for sure, man, I feel like our little silence for a little bit of time that came in is gonna once we come out.
It was a strategic silence. I had a lot of people asking me like, "What's going on? Where's the Ecom Cooperative? Where's Amazon Experts?" Where's Frank Acosta? They don't if anybody's asking me about Ecom Cooperative, Amazon Experts, Frank is right there with those questions, Frank. So you officially progressed in life to be on the. I'm joking.
We're trying to climb the ladder, man. We're trying to climb the ladder. So, David, look, we wanted to end this podcast. We came up with the No Name podcast, but I think our story starts way before that, right?
It does start way before it.
Way before.
Actually, Frank, I don't want to wait any longer because it's a Friday and we have work to do. Yeah. So we're just going to jump right in right now. Whoever's here is here. We have enough of an audience here, so we're just going to jump right in to the origin story of Frank and me.
I'm with it.
So I'm going to say we might have like mentioned a couple of details on a past live, but this is going to be they call it a tell-all, right? So let's tell all, Frank.
Yeah, let's do it. I'm ready, man. I'm ready.
All right. So in order for the whole story to come, we have to start at the beginning. And the beginning is my point of view, I think.
Sure.
So it started off at an event.
Sure.
We were both at a networking event. And
I think you started before that. I think you already knew who I was in the event.
Yes. Okay. Fine. You want to go back? Reel back? Fine.
No, so let's go back to
Frank was LinkedIn famous. Frank still is LinkedIn famous.
No, I'm not. But you were a lurker on LinkedIn. That's where we started.
I started off as a lurker on LinkedIn. That is true. I think like everybody on LinkedIn started off as a lurker.
100%.
Eventually, and I remember thinking, I'll never post. Me? Why would I post? Me? I'm not posting. I remember thinking that not too long ago.
And let's elaborate a little bit on that, right? Sometimes, and I know we're going to get to the story, but when you first get on a platform like LinkedIn and you see all these people posting, you're like, what the hell am I going to talk about? Right? Like, even if you have value, even if you have content, at one point you're like, am I going to look stupid posting? Am I going to, right? Like, all these things go through your mind. And the reality is just start.
You're your own biggest critic. That's the truth of it. You're like, oh, why would I post that? That's not going to be good. And you just don't think anything's good enough. And when you start, you kind of get used to it and realize what works and what doesn't work. And,
yeah, for sure. Just A/B testing, right? Do it for yourself.
But back to the story, Frank. Back to the story. So I knew of you. I knew of your posts. Most notably, Frank, I knew that you would post your failures. That is what I knew about you. I don't know if I ever told you that, but that's what I knew. I knew you were the guy who would drop some truth on LinkedIn and say, I went to a client meeting today and I struck out. Oh, well, better luck next time. Keep hustling. Something like that, like hashtag keep hustling.
Yeah.
And like you see content like that, you usually see the wins. And you always say this, Frank. You got to post the L's too. You got to post the times when you don't do well, the bad days. Don't only post when you're chilling and hanging out and having the best time. You have to, be real and be truthful. There's something about that vulnerability of striking out and then just being like, you know what, we're going to come back and do it again, and it works.
Yeah,
so,
100%.
So it started off with me knowing about you because of your posting, and I was at an event, a big networking event, and I walk over to you. You were with like an entourage of people, I remember. And I walk over to you. I was not nobody knew who I was. I was a well-kept secret. Amazon Experts, nobody knew who we were. So I come over to you and I'm like, hey, Frank, what's going on, man? Some like one of those one-liners. And you look at me and you just be like, I don't know if you said this, but it was like one of those moments where you thought it and like I heard your thoughts. And you're like, do I know you? It was like who are you, bro?
I know, but, yeah, but wait. Let's put this on a big context, right? We were in a huge event, and the reality is that a lot of people were approaching me through LinkedIn. They're like, we see you. So at one point, it's like, like you only want to talk to people you know. You only want to talk to the ones that you're familiar with. And so if you got that vibe, it was definitely another 100 people in the building that got the same vibe. So
okay. Don't worry about it. I don't take things personally, Frank. Don't worry about it. If I did, then we wouldn't be sitting here today, Frank.
That's a fact.
So bottom line is, I come over to you, I introduce myself, and you ain't having it. You're just not into it. You're not picking up what I'm putting out. You ain't into it, and it was basically just like, get out of my face. So I proceeded to get out of your face, and I forgot about you. I was like, oh, that guy's interesting, and life moved on. Fast forward, I want to say 5 months, because this event was in September, and then I was in Disney World with my family in February. So 4 or 5 months later, and I'm sitting there, and I'm in Disney World, and I sure enough get a message from Frank. He's like, "Hey man, what's going on? I wanted to talk to you about this and that and that and this." And I said, "Sure," because again, I knew who you were, and I don't take things personally, or I didn't take that personally at least. And basically, we had a call. I heard what you were about. I remember thinking, okay, this guy does branding. I do Amazon. They both need to happen for a brand, but it's not really like a tremendous overlap. I didn't really see a collaboration. I'm not going to say what it was, but your first approach to me was, hey, let me do this for you. You do a certain thing. Let me help you, and I'll be the extension of your company and do something and help you and help you grow that specific service. And we went down that road for a couple of weeks. But where it all came together, Frank, was when we met. Do you remember where we met? It's my spot. Yeah. It's my spot. Don't say where, because that's my spot.
No doubt.
But it was a coffee shop, right? It was a
coffee shop. It was a coffee shop Midtown. Yeah, let's just keep it at that, right?
And this coffee shop is the spot. They make good coffee. Do you remember that coffee, Frank? It was good.
Yeah. It's a fact. Very good, very good.
So I met you at this coffee shop where I meet anybody that I want to meet in New York, and basically you come bearing gifts. I'm not going to say what the gifts were. Yeah. And for those of you who don't know, when you're friends with Frank, gifts are like a part of, like, I'm not as nice. I don't get gifts. I usually don't. But Frank, unless it's a birthday, maybe, whatever. But Frank gets gifts all the time. So you just got to know that. He comes back from a trip. He's going to go to all of his clients and deliver a bottle of tequila.
Yeah,
that's Frank. That's what he does. That's the way he likes to operate. So that was a nice touch, Frank. And I want to stress, and this is like almost the end of the story, but I want to stress that when we met, there was no clear path to collaboration. From there, I want you to take over from how it started to how it kind of evolved. Because we still have the start of the No Name podcast, the start of the Ecom Cooperative, and my interview was needed for up until now. Now it's your turn to take over and take the next chapter. So go ahead.
Yeah, for sure. So I'm gonna track just very little on something that you missed out on. I remember reaching out to you, and I was like, "Hey, look, you're in the Amazon space. I do this, and that," and I felt so stupid because you're like, "Oh, I've met you before. We've seen each other before." I was like, "No, we didn't." And automatically you smack me with a picture of both of us, and I'm like, "Oh snap, man!"
Shout out to Joe Applebaum. Joe Applebaum once said in a networking event, he's like, if you meet somebody and you want them to know that you met them, take a camera out, snap a picture, and then the next time you message them, and they don't know who you are, you send them that picture. How much better can you get?
Caught me so off guard. And David, I'm gonna look for that picture. I want you to send it to me. We're actually gonna post it right after this. I want people to know where we met, because that's really how it all started, right? That's the first time we had like human interaction. So this is what happens. I reach out to you, David. I meet you in person. We had an amazing conversation. I'll tell you why this relationship extended, right? David was talking about me and that I'm giving. Yeah, all of that is, David has other ways of giving. And David instantly gave me a client. No questions asked. He basically sold the service for me. He was like, hey, Frank has this. He does this for a lot of people, by the way. Frank does this. Trust me, is the best route to take. The client came to me. We delivered a video. And that was the first project that David has sent my way. He was like, Frank, I don't want any commission. I don't want anything. I just want to bless you. I want to see if this works out. So going back to the giving mindset, right, David, you were also talking about me coming to a gift, but your gift is just as valuable. You gave me access to your clients. You gave me access to the people that are in your circle, and instantly it became a relationship where it's like, hey, we can like legit turn this into something bigger. We can legit start working together. Your services and my services, they basically walk down the aisle with each other, right? And we realize that now it also benefits my clients to use you, your clients to use me, and it was like a no-brainer to do business together, right? So I think that the first thing that we did was after that one project, I was in Florida, I remember, I think we nailed it. No revisions. I think that also caught you a little bit off guard, right? That I came with that approach. And we instantly set up a dinner, and talking about dinners, right? We instantly set up a dinner, right? It went well. I came back from Florida. I think our first dinner was in Lakewood. And Jake was there. And I think that dinner right there marked an official vibe that we're dinners is now a thing.
Underrated. Jake has not been at any dinner since that dinner. So that
was he's been to one or two. He went to one in the city with us after, but I can say that Jake probably hasn't gone to a dinner that I wasn't there, right? I could probably say that since that day, right? So, look, we started a dinner and we're like, wow, man, these dinners are actually great because you get to meet the person on a new level, right? We're over drinks, we're having a good time when you're in a good environment, right? It's like that coffee shop. We had a good environment, we had a good location. So we started this dinner, right? We started having these dinners and it became a thing, David. It became a freaking thing. We started doing dinners continuously. We started going to I remember at one point we had like 3 dinners in a month, and it became a thing. And I think that a lot of people, where did this really start? Yeah, it kicked off with us meeting each other, but I think these dinners is what elevated everything else that we're doing together, right? These dinners that we did.
So the dinners definitely played an important role there. There's no question about that. We would go to dinners. I think we invited Yoni to a dinner. I don't know if you were there though. I invited Jason and Lenny to a dinner. So this is before I was going with you to every single dinner I would go to. Fast forward to this week, and I was arranging a nice dinner this week, and I call Frank, and I'm like, Frank, you gotta come. And he's like, I can't come. I'm busy. I'm working. I'm this. I'm that. And I'm like, Frank, you gotta come. He's like, I can't do it. Again, a couple hours later, Frank, you coming? I'm expecting you to come. I made reservations for you. Can't do it. Finally, I'm like, all right, Frank, you're losing out, man. It's your loss. I got into the restaurant. I get a text message. Dave, come outside. Right there. So you're still coming through. You're still showing up, like you're always talking about showing up. And it's important because these networking dinners. I mean, you made 3 introductions on that dinner alone.
Sure.
We definitely. I think showing up is important, and I think that what we're doing here. With the networking dinners and with the Ecom Cooperative and with the No Name podcast and with Hustle Radio, it's just a whole bunch of different ways to show up and bring something to the table.
I know, but what I'm trying to say is that a lot of these things came up from dinners, right? It's like
I think exclusively, every single one of these were brainstormed at a dinner.
Yeah, that's what I'm getting.
That's where we do our best work.
Yeah, right.
We could set up a meeting during the day. And we'll just, shoot the shit and screw around for too long. Yeah, and then we'll go to a dinner. We'll eat very well. We'll drink very well. And then just in between the main course and dessert is usually somewhere around there. Just things
happen. Let's open a podcast.
Yeah.
Right? And it's crazy, man. It's one of those things where
what's the name of the podcast? I don't know, man. I don't think I could come up with a name. Damn it. We have no name, bro. Hold on a second. Call it a No Name podcast.
Right? It's like
that's how it all starts.
And I want to talk about this, man, right? It's like
drunk at dinner. That's how these things come to you.
But it's like sometimes you want to do something, right? And you're so stuck on a creative process. No, I gotta prepare, I gotta do research. No Name podcast. We don't have a name. Let's start with a No Name podcast. No Name podcast. And it was successful, man. We did our first podcast. I don't know about you, but I started getting a few text messages.
No. We did our first live, Frank. We didn't call it
live.
We went live. We went live with Beck. Shout out to Beck. Where are you, Beck?
Shout out to Beck. She said she was going to be here, but she's sleeping. She's
sleeping. Anyways, the point was we started it out very not serious, very not official. And then the No Name podcast, fast forward to a dinner 2-3 months later, and we're like, yo, we got to change. The No Name podcast did its job. It worked for the time and we needed it, but we need to evolve. We need to get to the next step. We need to come up with, what are we about? What is this podcast going to be for? Yeah. And all we kept on coming back to was we gotta make a podcast and surround ourselves with people who are addicted to the hustle. Let's call it. People who are really, who whatever they're doing is something to learn from. So that's where we kind of came up with Hustle Radio. Yeah. But I don't think we could really, say this story without talking about the Ecom Cooperative as well. And I do have to we're not going as long as we originally thought, Frank.
Yeah, it's fine.
But the point is, we get work is calling already. But the point is, the Ecom Cooperative is something that I think it's amazing. And we talked a little bit about the start of it. We don't have to go into the whole story of how it happened, but I just want to make one point. And I know this for a fact. After we did business together, after I had a client who shall not be named, but I remember he came to us and he's like, I need a very, very special offer, a very special favor. And I brought him to you, and I realized not only were you serious, not only were you dedicated to the craft, but you also were dedicated to customer service. And you were dedicated to making sure that the client's happy no matter what, and that you had, something about you that you wanted to, I knew that you would go the distance. I knew that when I was making the giveaway, when I was arranging it, I had in the back of my head, I know Frank is in. And even though I don't even think I credited you as the second person in, technically you're the third person in. I remember I went to dinner with Lenny and Jason, and then the next morning I was in my conference room and I was telling you about it, and within 10 seconds you agreed, and the phone was hung up. Like, I told you about it, 100% I'm in, I'll give a video, done. No question about it. So I knew that. I already, before I called you and asked you, I told you, yo, we're doing a giveaway. I think I even told you that. I think I just like I accept invitations for you sometimes, I accepted this business opportunity for you, and I knew that you were going to do it. I knew that you were going to accept it. So I don't know if that means that you're the second one in or tied for second with Lenny and Jason, but it says a lot about you. And it's in that short time of knowing you, I didn't know you that long. I knew you for a year already, but after that, I was basically that was like the start of really getting to the next level, because the podcast started after that, and we were doing dinners maybe once a month or something. But I think the weekly dinners started after that.
Sure. But I think most importantly, David, I think what made our bond even stronger from what it had been is that we became partners, right? So forget about like doing business together, building a podcast together. We legit opened a business and we're partners in it. And I remember we were at a dinner and just looked over to me, you're like, Frank, do you realize that we're legit partners now? And like, do business together, but we legit opened the business together, and it was just a moment of spark for me. That it's like you build the right relationships with people, you flush out good work, and things happen. The last thing on our minds was to open a business together. All we were thinking about was collaborating, going to dinners, sending business.
Frank, I think we opened the business together because we were both working on the weekends like usual, a lot.
Yeah, I'm with it.
We were always working on the weekends, bro. That's what we were doing every Sunday.
Working on a weekend like
usual.
Get it, boy.
Like usual.
Put a little more up.
They doing too much. Haven't done my taxes. I'm too turned up. Virgil got nuts.
All right, Frank, you know how it is. We always end keeping them wanting more, Frank.
Yeah, and when we started this, we always said we want to keep 30 minutes, max, right? So let's stick to that. David, they'll just have to hear more on other podcasts, man. You'll hear the New York Hustle podcast.
Thank you to all the watchers for watching the No Name podcast. It's been a good run. Next up, New York Hustle Radio. Frank, hold your time, bro. We are live for the last time, bro. Come on.
Oh, live.
Did what I did. Never turn my back on every
Peace
G.
out. No Name Podcast
Like this, doing
out.
flips, giving you my number, but